Hey friends, guess who's back in the kitchen? For those of you who've been here since the start, hi again. And if you're new, welcome to the family. I'm Adam, and I'm back. I miss all of you. Let me quickly sum up the last few years. I lost over 100 pounds, had spinal surgery, a torn rotator cuff, took a couple of graduate courses, directed 3 musicals, became a high school drama club advisor, kept on teaching, and most importantly, spent plenty of time with my family and my friends. And through it all, I miss being here, sharing recipes, stories, and that cozy joy that only food can bring. So since it's my first day back, I wanted to start with something really special. A new segment called Main Street Kitchen, where I recreate recipes inspired by my favorite theme parks, television shows, movies, books, stage shows, and viewer requests, all with a grown-up twist. To kick this new segment off, I wanted something beautiful and a little magical. Cinnamon apple roses. These beauties look like they came straight from a bakery window in Paris. To be honest, no, I didn't see them in Paris, I wish. I actually first saw them on a Hallmark mystery movie, and I knew I had to try them. They're buttery, golden, kissed with cinnamon, and yes, totally beginner friendly. Stick around because this video kicks off a brand new chapter of this YouTube channel, and I'm so excited to bring you along. So let's talk about what you'll need. Puff pastry. If you're feeling daring, you can make them from scratch. But for me, store-bought is perfect. You'll find it in the freezer section. It will be frozen, so before you use it, move it to the fridge to thaw gently before you want to use it. Puff pastry works best when it's cold, so have your ingredients ready to work and work quickly. If it starts to feel warm, pop it back in the fridge for about 5 to 10 minutes. Obviously, you're going to need some apples. But let's pause for a second because this part really matters. You want apples that are firm enough to hold their shape after baking, but also sweet and slightly tart to balance the cinnamon and buttery pastry. My favorite for this recipe are Honeycrisp or Pink Lady. They slice beautifully and have that perfect sweet tart bite. You can go for Granny Smith if you like more tartness, or Fuji for extra sweetness. Just avoid softer apples like Red Delicious. They get mushy and won't hold the rose shape. Today I'll be using the Pink Lady apples. You will need lemon juice from a freshly squeezed lemon, sugar, cinnamon, nutmeg, brown sugar, apricot jam or apple jelly, whatever you prefer, powdered sugar for a little bit of sparkle, caramel sauce. You can use your favorite store-bought or your homemade version. Before we start slicing, let's talk mandolin safety. Because as gorgeous as the apple slices are going to be, I also really like keeping all 10 on my fingers. And trust me, I know what can happen. I once came this close to losing my thumb on a mandolin. Not fun. These apples need to be thinly sliced, paper thin if you can, so they'll bend easily into rose petals without breaking. The thinner the slices, the more delicate and beautiful your roses will look. First, always use the hand guard or the gloves that come with your mandolin. I was lucky enough mine came with the cut-resistant gloves. Second, keep your mandolin on a flat, stable surface and work slowly. Don't rush. A clean, steady motion will give you even slices without risking the slip. Third, stop before you get to the very end of the apple. Once you're down to that little bit, set it aside and slice it by hand with a knife. It's not worth the risk for one extra slice. And finally, treat the blade like it's a chef's knife. All right, friends, let's get started. First, grab a microwave-safe bowl and pour in about 2 cups of water. Squeeze in the juice from an entire lemon and watch out for those seeds. Now take your apples, cut them in half, and remove the cores. Slice them nice and thin, paper thin if you can. Remember, the thinner they are, the easier they'll bend into beautiful petals. Drop those slices right into the lemon water. This little trick keeps them from turning brown. Now we're going to pop that bowl into the microwave for about 2 to 3 minutes. This will soften the apples so they roll without breaking. Once they're done, carefully drain off the water. In a separate bowl, let's make our warm and cozy spice mix. Take 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of white sugar, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and a half a teaspoon of nutmeg. Now give it a stir. In that bowl, take half of that mixture and gently toss it with your warm apple slices. Save the rest for later though. Next up, in a small microwave-safe bowl, add 2 tablespoons of apricot jam and just a splash of water. Microwave it for about 20 to 30 seconds. Keep an eye on it so it doesn't bubble over. Stir until it's nice and smooth. Now on a lightly floured surface, roll out your thawed puff pastry just enough to smooth the seams. Cut it into 6 even strips. Brush each strip with that warm apricot glaze. Then along the top edge, lay your apple slices so they overlap slightly, like a row of little petals peeking out. Sprinkle with the rest of your cinnamon sugar mix, fold the bottom half of the pastry over the apples, and gently roll it up from one side to the other. Tuck each rose into a greased muffin tin and bake at 375 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes until they're puffed up, golden, and gorgeous. Let them cool just a bit before serving and then enjoy every cozy, magical bite. Look at these golden puffed, cinnamon kissed. These apple roses look like they belong in the window of a little Paris bakery, but we both know how simple they were to make. They're the kind of dessert that feels romantic, something you'd serve on a crisp fall afternoon or at the end of a cozy dinner date. Like I mentioned earlier, I first spotted them in a Hallmark movie and instantly pictured enjoying one while curled up under a blanket with a warm drink, watching the leaves drift down and reading a good book. And you know what? I know many of us don't want summer to end, but fall is coming fast. And for those of you who know me, I am a huge Disney fan. Imagine this, a cool August night at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. The Main Street fall garlands are glowing, the Dapper Dans are harmonizing under flickering lanterns, and the scent of cinnamon caramel fills the air. That's exactly the nostalgic, magical energy we're channeling today. Now, to make this even a more experience, I'm going to show you how we can serve them up on a plate. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to serve them up. Let me take one out of the pan. Listen to that crisp, flaky pastry. Okay. I'm going to serve it up with a generous scoop of rich vanilla ice cream. And I'm going to top it off with a little bit of caramel, buttery caramel. And then to final it off, I'm going to dust it with some powdered sugar. And now you've got a dessert that is pure storybook magic. Warm, flaky pastry against cool, creamy ice cream in every single bite. All right, let's go ahead and try one. That crisp of the warm, flaky pastry. The puff puff pastry shatters into these delicate buttery flakes. Well, the apples are tender, but still have that little bite wrapped in warm cinnamon and nutmeg. I'm going in for a second. This time with some vanilla ice cream. The sweetness is gentle, the spice is comforting, and there's just enough caramelized edge from the sugar to make it feel like a bakery treat. It's one of those bites where you can close your eyes for a second because somehow it's both elegant enough for a restaurant and cozy enough for your own little kitchen. If you love this recipe, please go ahead and like, subscribe, and tap that little bell so you don't miss what's next here in the Main Street Kitchen, where I bring the nostalgic, theme park inspired treats, cozy comfort recipes, and magical flavors from your favorite stories right into your home. These cinnamon apple roses are pure storybook magic, perfect as charming brunch centerpiece, a cozy winter treat with a warm drink, or the sweetest way to welcome fall. However you enjoy them, you're tasting a little bit of the Main Street Kitchen magic in every bite. I'll see you next time, and until then, keep creating delicious and magical memories.